Hello guys, I'm Jayasuriya and I'll be explaining about ecosystems that is from the unit number 8 and it will be based on the national level curriculum. I hope this video will come in handy and help you in your learning process. Right, now let's begin. Ecosystems. First we have to know the definition for ecosystems. Ecosystem is a collection of communities as well as the abiotic factors with which they interact. Sri Lanka is located in the northern equatorial tropical zone of the world. Therefore, the climate of Sri Lanka is having a high rainfall as well as a sound temperature. Due to this climate, Sri Lanka is blessed with a wide array of terrestrial and aquatic ecosystems. So, these ecosystems in Sri Lanka is divided into three types. Terrestrial, inland wetlands, ecosystems with coastal areas. The terrestrial ecosystems are divided into two types: forests, grasslands. So under forests we have lowland rainforests, then thorn scrubs, etc. Grasslands we have Savanna and Patana. For inland wetlands, rivers and streams, reservoirs. Then ecosystems with coastal areas, lagoons and estuaries, mangroves are examples. The distribution of vegetation in Sri Lanka depends on the local climate, that is the temperature and the annual rainfall. And then the second factor is topography, and the third factor is the soil condition. The table in page number 77, which is shown here in this video, describes about the altitudes, temperature, rainfall, and examples of ecosystems in different zones. Now we begin with the first ecosystem that we are going to discuss, that is tropical wet lowland rainforest. Under this we are going to talk about the altitude, then the temperature, rainfall, humidity, some characteristics, and of course examples where, that means areas where these are found in Sri Lanka, these forests, and plant species and animal species. Altitude. Altitude of the tropical wet lowland rainforest will be less than 900 meters. The temperature is 28 degrees centigrade. Rainfall 2000 to 5000 millimeters. Humidity is very high. Due to such a rainfall, there are no dry periods. Examples such as Singharaja and Kanneliya. Then characteristics. There will be a tall canopy in these areas, then a sub-canopy and a sparse shrub layer. This shrub layer will have saplings of the canopy trees. And sometimes an emergent layer can also above this canopy. Then the vegetation has a network of woody lianas that climb towards the canopy. Then also there are epiphytic lichens, mosses, liverworts, fungi, orchids, etc. in these forests. Then plant species, Horror, Na, Hal. Those are the examples given in the curriculum. Then animal species like purple-faced langur and Sri Lankan slender loris, golden wet-zone palm civet. And another point that we have to discuss is how these areas are disturbed. Tropical wet lowland rainforests are disturbed due to tea cultivation, agriculture, residential and industrial development. Then next we have to talk about tropical montane forests. Altitude is greater than 1500 meters. Temperature is 16 degrees centigrade. Then rainfall is 2000 millimeters. No dry period. Humidity is high. Examples Viduthalagala and Knuckles mountain ranges. Then characteristics. These forests have a short canopy about 13 meters tall and with a dense shrub layer. The trees of these forests have a mushroom-shaped canopy, twisted branches and leathery small leaves. These three characteristics that I mentioned earlier is to accommodate strong winds in the areas where these forests are found. And also there are epiphytes in these forests. Plant species like Keena, Ubalkurulu and Galvaru are found in these forests. Then animal species, Sri Lankan yellow-eared bulbul and Sri Lankan highland shrew are examples. Then these areas are disturbed due to tea cultivation. Next we are going to talk about dry monsoon forests. Dry monsoon forests. The altitude is less than 300 meters. Temperature is 29 degrees centigrade. Rainfall 1000 to 1500 millimeters. And there is a dry period from May to August. There is a dry period. Then humidity, about humidity it is not mentioned. Then examples, areas Yara National Park and Vilpattu National Park. Then characteristics. There is a sparse canopy with a well-developed shrub or herb layer. And plant species like Veera, Phalu, Kaluvara can be found in these forests. Then elephants, a large population of elephants are found in these forests. And also leopards, bears, deers are also found. Then these are disturbed due to chain cultivation, human settlements and extraction of timber and poaching. Next. Next, we are going to talk about tropical thorn scrubs. Here they are found in arid lowlands, and the temperature will be a little higher than the previous mentioned forests, 31 degrees centigrade, and the rainfall will be less than 1000 millimeters. Examples like Hambantota, Yala, Manna. Then characteristics. These forests are not called as forests, they are called as scrubs. This is because the large trees are scrubs and the vegetation is mainly composed of thorny shrubs. Plants like Guineandara, Ranamara, Hirasa, and then animal species like deer, leopard, elephants are found in these forests. They are disturbed due to various development processes. Now the explanation of forest ecosystems is over. Now we are going to move into the grassland ecosystems, that is two types, savannas and patana. First we will talk about savanna. Savannas are found in hill slopes of dry or intermediate zone. Then the temperatures are not mentioned, but that is a dry season. And during these dry seasons, periodic fires occur. Examples are Molaragal, Mahyangan. Characteristics: there is a thick grass cover in these areas with a few scattered trees. The soil layer in these areas is very thin. Therefore, this thin soil layer cannot support the growth of trees, but they can support the growth of grasses. So, this thick grass cover helps to bind the soil particles and prevent soil erosion. These areas also, as I mentioned earlier, periodic fires occur in these areas. So, in order to cope up with this factor, these areas have fire-resistant plant species. Then plants like Aralu, Bulu, Nelli, and grass species like Mana and Iluk. And they are disturbed due to periodic fires set by villagers. Next, we are going to talk about Patana. Based on the rainfall pattern and soil, there are two types of Patana. First, we are going to talk about wet Patana grasslands. The altitude of these wet Patana grasslands is greater than 1500 meters. Temperature will be 5 degrees Celsius to 80 degrees Celsius. Rainfall is greater than 2000 millimeters. Examples: cotton plains. And the wet Patana grasslands have mist, fog and frost in common, and there is no dry period. And then the plant species, that is grasses, tussock grasses. These grasses have a height less than 1 meter. And examples: Chrysocogal noduligavis and Arundinella villosa. Then animals like wild boar and leopards are found in these areas. Then we will talk about the other type, that is One is wet Patana and the other one is dry Patana grasslands. The dry Patana grasslands altitude is 500 to 1600 meters. Then the temperature is 18 degrees Celsius to 24 degrees Celsius. Then the rainfall 1400 to 2000 millimeters. Examples: Hankana and Gampula. Plant species Pandidimana and Pinibalapana, and they grow to a height of 1 to 2 meters. Then speaking about the terrestrial ecosystems is over. Now we are going to talk about wetlands. Wetlands are habitats with a permanent or temporary accumulation of water with associated plants and animals. But the Ramsar Convention has given a standard definition for wetlands, that is, areas of marsh, fen or peatland, whether natural or artificial, permanent or temporarily with water, that is static or flowing, fresh, brackish or salt, and with marine water of which the depth at low tide do not exceed 6 meters. So that is a very long definition, but that is the standard definition for wetlands. So wetlands, we separate wetlands into 3 types. Inland freshwaters, coastal wetlands, and man-made wetlands. Then under these we are going to talk about, first we talk about inland freshwaters. First of inland freshwaters is rivers and streams. There are 103 rivers in Sri Lanka, and the river basins at wet highlands are perennial and river basins at dry highlands are seasonal, and there is hardly any vegetation in flowing water. Then next we talk about marshes and swamp forests. These are low-lying areas, and they receive water through surface runoff, groundwater seepage and floodwater. And these areas have peat and sticky clay and soil. Then examples like Vaturana swamp in Bulak plant species like Habarada and Kekati. Animals, water birds, amphibians, fish are found in these marshes and swamps. Next we are going to talk about willows. Willows, they are floodplains of reservoirs. So as an example we can take Mahavali floodplains. Then plants like grasses and sedges are found in willows, and animals like elephants and birds are found in these areas. So speaking about inland freshwaters is over. And now we are going to talk about coastal wetlands. Under coastal wetlands, first we have to speak about lagoons and estuaries. Lagoons and estuaries. First we will define what is a lagoon. They are coastal wetlands that are separated from the sea by a sand barrier. Then estuaries are found in places where the river enters the sea and they are not separated by a sand barrier. So examples for lagoons is Nigango and examples for estuaries Madhumaga. A common characteristic of these areas is daily tidal fluctuations. Then next we are going to talk about mangroves. Mangroves, it is an intertidal vegetation that covers the fringes of the lagoons and estuaries. Then characteristics, brackish water, then loose soil, anoxic conditions, and vegetation is exposed to intense sunlight. Areas like in Nigango, mangroves can be observed. Then plants species are of two types, true mangroves and mangroves. True mangroves, examples covered and mas atubas, and mangroves example is karan koku. These plants have a thick cuticle, show viviparency, and have salt glands and special roots. Animals like mollusks and crustaceans inhabiting these wetlands, that is mangroves. Then next, salt marshes. They are found in arid coastal areas. When the soil in these areas dries out, salt crystals are formed. They have a low rainfall, high temperature, and high wind, loose sand flowing with salt. These are the characteristics. Then examples like Putla area. There are only a few plant species, example Salicornia species, and also a few animal species living in these areas. The Salicornia plant species has a fleshy and succulent plant body. Next one is sea grass beds. They are large lagoon areas with a low wave action, and the floor has sea grasses. Examples like Carpetia and Manna. Then plants like Halophylla, Halodule are found in these areas. These areas help in breeding of many fish species. They are disturbed due to fishery activities as the parking areas of fishing boats are the sea grass beds. Then next, coral reefs. They are natural wonders. Coral reefs are very spectacular in beauty, and they are known as the rainforests of the sea. They are calcareous structures that is secreted by a group of marine invertebrates. Examples like in areas like Thangala, coral reefs can be observed. Animals like fish species, lobsters, dolphins are found in coral reefs. Seashore. A common feature of seashores is that they are sandy. They have a lot of sand. Then characteristics like high temperature, high winds, especially during monsoon seasons, and salt spray. Plants like Muhudu, Bintaguru, and Maharavana Lowland are found in these areas. Away from the seashores towards the land, there are plants like Vatakeya and Vara. There is a last type of coastal wetlands, sand dunes. They are raised beaches of sand, and they have stunted or creeping vegetation on large masses of sand. The structure of the sand dune depends on the wind speed and the wind direction, and as well as the zone. Examples are Mulati. Then finally we are going to talk about man-made wetlands, that is reservoirs. There are no natural lakes in Sri Lanka. Reservoirs can be found in lowland dry zones, like examples like Parakrama Samudra, then Mineri River. Plants like Marnel, Nelum, Kekatiya, Salvinia, Japan jungle can be found in reservoirs. So the section for ecosystems ends here, and as the video also ends here. So I wish good luck for your exams, and thank you for watching this video.